This guy's stretching over here because he ran a fucking marathon yesterday.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about the marathon that you ran yesterday.
I mean, we can for a little bit. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. How do you feel now that you've accomplished that?
Sore. Sore is
for
probably
sure.
the first thing I feel.
Yeah.
Mentally, I'm like, so to start off, I ran the marathon in 4 hours and 12 minutes, and my goal was 3 hours and 30 minutes, and that's 42 minutes off. So like for me, I'm taking in the fact that I finished and I got it done and still a respectable time. I would have liked to be under 4 hours, honestly. That would have made me feel a lot better about my first attempt at it, but I learned a lot about myself. I pushed through a lot that I definitely felt like I was going to give up at one point. Like I did wake up too yesterday, and you know how I am, like looking at my Whoop. Like if the scores are low,
It's a bad day.
yeah, I like know in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm not like physically 100% for this. And I woke up yesterday and barely slept, because I had to wake up and drive, and I was probably on nerves the night before. I mean, I definitely hydrated really well on Saturday, and I feel like my nutrition was good during the week leading up to it. But I don't know, just woke up and I knew I wasn't 100% going into it. Like when I was brushing my teeth before I left in the morning, I was like, could really use like another hour and a half of sleep right now before this. Mm-hmm. So I think I knew that in my head, and maybe that played a little bit into it when I was running. It's like the 8 mile mark. I was kind of like, this sucks. And at mile 10, I was calling Desiree, and you know me, like I don't talk to anybody on the phone when I'm running. So
no, never.
for me to go out of my way and call and just be like, I need to pick me up right now. Like it was more challenging than I thought it was going to be, to be honest.
Yeah.
I definitely underestimated it. I'll say that. I went in and I knew what I was capable of, and I knew how I could achieve my goal and what I had to do that. And very quickly I was like, this plan is trash and I need to come up with a new one to just finish.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, like I think you got to give yourself some credit for sure, because you finished the thing, and like you're probably in like the 5% of people, if not lower, in the world who could actually finish a marathon in the time without like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But how do you feel now that, so like a lot of times people think about, they want to get in shape, they want to do different stuff. How do you feel about it now? Because there was like a goal attached to it, right? You wanted to finish a marathon. Mm-hmm. How do you feel now that it's like, because it was all building up to like this one day, right? Versus kind of like thinking about it in the sense of like some people just set goals like, I want to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, right? Or something like that. How does that feel to then like finish that? Because there has got to be some type of letdown in the fact of it's a one-day thing, right? Leading up to one thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then you came 40 minutes short or 42 minutes short, or whatever it is, right? So do you think one or the other is better? Because you've also been consistent in other ways, in other goals in your life. Because I think about that in the way of like, I wonder if, because like you look at people there's people who go to the gym and it's a consistent thing. And then there's people who go to the gym all the time and they're doing like a bodybuilding competition. Mm-hmm. They must have like a similar feeling, right?
I mean, I think for me, a lot of definitely the most growth, and I think a lot of what I learned was all in the training. The training was, the marathon was like the finish line. Just starting the marathon was basically the finish line. And then finishing the marathon was just like the goal, like we're moving on to the next goal. For me, when I started, it was to just get back into shape. And then, I mean, like, think about it. I started working out in 2022, the end of 2022 in October. And now it's about to be 3 years since then. And I probably could have run a marathon in the first year or the second year, but there was something about the training and the push and the consistency every day leading up to it that I really, really enjoyed. And maybe I overindulged in that for a long time. Like you liked it because you were afraid of what would happen after you've completed it, or that, and because like once you do it, like what's next, and do I have to go do something harder, or like now we obviously, like I'm going back and I'm gonna get that time, like that's the next goal.
Yes.
When I decide what marathon I'm running and when I'm doing it, like the goal is to hit sub 3:30.
Yeah.
because we've done the marathon. I know what hiccups I faced, and you do all this training, man, and the race is never the same as the fucking training.
No, you can't. You couldn't possibly like mimic the course, especially like if you're gonna run. I mean, you were running somewhere an hour and a half away from us, but you'll probably run somewhere even further from where we live now, and the next one. So like, how could you possibly know every inch of the course and compare in that way? It's more up here, right? I think that was the biggest challenge, and that's what I wanted out of it. I knew that my body could physically handle what I was about to put it through, but it was how long can you mentally hold on for? And I think because I am so big on like looking at the numbers and the stats, like when I woke up and I saw my whoop, like that was enough to be like, to just trigger the destroyer in my head. That was just like, it had ammo to use. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So
were you thinking about it while you were running it? Were you thinking about the fact that like I didn't sleep great last night? I didn't recover
100% when I called Desiree.
Because I know you don't sleep that great to begin with. I mean, you've got a newborn child too. That's part of it. But
I mean, like I don't think I sleep terrible. I just don't sleep long. You know what I mean? Like I go to bed at like 10 and I wake up at 5, which is if I slept all the way through, it would be like 8 hours. But I normally get like 6:50. So
yeah, that's
but yesterday was especially different because it's like I woke up at like 12:30 thinking it was 3. Because I saw the clock, but I only saw the 3 and the 0. So I stayed up for like half an hour.
Yeah.
And I could hear mad people outside of the apartment, like walking back and forth from the bars. And I was like, there's no way I'm about to get up to go run a marathon. There's still people on the street right now. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I got up and I checked my phone and it was 12:30. And I was like, or it was like 12:50 at that point. And I was like, fuck, I just wasted time being up. So then I went to sleep, and then the baby woke up at like 3, and I tried to go back to bed, and it just didn't work. So the sleep was definitely pushing on me, and I think that was just enough of an opening for me to mentally have some ammo to be like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah, it's kind of that. If that's your first thought of the day, or the first like collected thought that you've made a decision about in the day, it shapes the rest of it. So then, like, and with that being said, like, was there anything you would do differently, like whether it's yesterday or throughout the whole training?
No, because I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, and I'm proud of myself for that. I mean, if I could have slept better, like then obviously I would have. But like, I know that I did what I was supposed to do leading up to it. I tapered off correctly. Like I was only at 17 miles for the week when I went into the race. Normally on Sunday, I'm somewhere around 30 to 40. So like I gave myself plenty of cushion to be able to handle it. Just fell a little bit short this time, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, also like I feel like as someone who feels like I could not finish a marathon at this point, like, I think for you, right, it's about focusing on the fact that you finished, right? Because it easily, like, you that whole time, you spent all this time thinking about giving up, and you did not.
I spent like the last 4 miles of the race being like, I can't wait to get done, and then just sit on the ground and be able to think about how I fucked this up. Because I was trying to be negative to myself, and then like you get to the finish line, and I saw you guys and like the signs that you guys had, and I was like, how am I supposed to be upset about this right now? Like, it's done. I was just in a lot of pain at that point. Like you saw, I didn't talk for like the first 10 minutes. I'll tell you what, going to the bathroom, like when I first stopped for the first time after the race, like, because I was still like moving around when I was talking to you guys, but when I stood in the porta potty to go to the bathroom, I felt my calves and I was like, oh, my legs are about to collapse right now.
I literally turned around and I was like, he's going in there to piss blood, just so you guys. Yeah. I mean, I'll take the time now while we're on the podcast, because this has been a theme without it. Like, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Like, it's about the fact that you finished it, you set out for a goal, and you did it. Like, 3 hours and 30 minutes is fucking fast. Like, I don't run at that pace, and I run a couple miles at a time, right? So, everything's relative. So, in my opinion, like, you fucking crushed it.
Thank you. So, I appreciate that.
Yeah, great job. Yeah. That was also just like a fun thing for everybody to do. Like,
yeah, no, thank you for surprising me. I had no idea that you were coming whatsoever.
It was a whole scheme.
Yeah. Des was like telling me on the way home, she's just like, yeah, I was like really nervous. You didn't see me texting JP? And I was like, no. Like, I don't look at you when you're texting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, originally the plan, like, apparently she was talking about how she was going to surprise you too.
So she told me that she
And I was
was
like, I
thinking
don't know
about,
if he's going to finish if he doesn't think anybody's there. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck.
yeah. There was part of me that was just like, God damn, I could just like get off right here. I could call for the assistance. They tell you in the packet though, which is discouraging. If you do want to DNF, you might have to wait anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half for somebody to come pick you up. So you might as well just keep fucking going at that point.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a real test of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, there's plenty of like walkways off of the race course, and I was like, God damn, that would be nice.
That sounds fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Just walk off the race course in the middle of fucking Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, you did it. That's the important thing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can kind of like, I think it's important that you don't like skip over the fact that you did it and just jump to the, oh, I need to get the time next time, right?
No, I'm definitely.
There's so many factors that go into. It's not just about, like, I guess the training beforehand, right? There's so many other, like you said, like all of it. You could train as hard as you want, and you sleep like shit the night before, and now all of a sudden you're in an uphill battle, right? So, I just want to make sure that you realize like what you've accomplished, and I'm proud of you, man. You did a great job.
Thank you, man.
It was a satisfying moment for me to watch you.
Yeah,
come down the finish line. Yeah. Except for that fucking loser who tried to steal your moment.
Did you see when
you cut it out of the video? I was like, I thought this video was longer. Right?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not posting this guy fucking flying up on me. Every race I've ever finished at the finish line, somebody tries to fly up past me.
Yeah. What was the longest race you had done before this?
The longest official race was a 10K, so like 6 miles. But I mean, like the longest run I had gone on before that marathon was 18 miles.
It's impressive, man. It's very impressive.
Yeah, man, it's crazy to think that I still had 8 more. When I got to mile 18, I was just like, okay, it's the furthest we've gone, and we still have 8 miles left.
Yeah, and I'm sure like at that point, 8 miles sounds like fucking 200.
At mile 10, I was ready to die and give up, and then I got to 13, and I was like, oh, we're halfway there. I did this. Like, it's only halfway more to go. Like,
only halfway more.
Not a big deal. And then I got to mile 14, and I was like, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right. I mean that's how I feel. Like
there was one guy that was like around me the whole time, and he literally stopped to use the bathroom like 7 or 8 times, and then he would pass me and I'd be like, this motherfucker, he has time to pee and then pick back up pace and still be faster than me.
Yeah. Do you feel like it taught you anything about like comparing yourself? Because a lot of it is time. Do you spend a lot of time around other runners, right?
Yeah.
People who are a lot better than you, people who are not as good as you, right? Do you think it taught you anything in that sense? Because like everything I feel like running wise is so focused on like times and stuff.
I mean, so it's definitely a 1-player game, and like you have to focus on that. I think it's hard to when you have that much competition around you, and I think that's where a lot of people can, especially at the beginning of the race, you see people get so amped up because there's so many people running out and they're running fast, and like you want to follow them, and then your race is fucked because you just overexerted at the beginning. But I do remember like a lot of the first couple runs that I ran were the New York City Roadrunners Club runs, and all of the shirts that they give out on the back of them, they always say run your own race. And I very much I normally, there's times, especially when I do like the smaller races like 5Ks and stuff, I feel like I can really compete in those, so I try really hard. But there was something about yesterday where I knew the whole time, like I started off with Alan and Guillermo, and like 3 miles in, I was like, you guys go do your thing. I'm just going to run by myself.
Yeah.
And I think that was, there was some times where I was like definitely comparing myself, but like in a negative light, when normally like when I'm running, I'm just like, oh, I'm way faster than these people. But like yesterday I was definitely beating myself up with it. But
yeah. So let me ask you something, and then we can move on to something else. Like, why do you think that the negative self-talk gets so loud on the day that means so much to you? Right? Like, because I genuinely feel like, because I've I've been your friend for a long time, especially like we talk all the time. It's just like I don't feel like you have that voice necessarily with regular running, right? But then the day of the race comes, and now all of a sudden, do you think it's like, do you think that's something within you? Do you think that it's like you got to do this around other people? What do you think that kind of, where do you think that stirs up from? Because obviously there's just going to be nerves on the day of.
I think a big part of it is nerves, but I think another big part of it is expectation. And I think that's why when we talked the last episode and I wanted to focus on letting go of those expectations, like it's okay to just not have things go as planned and like you work around it. And I think that's a big part of it for me because I am so regimented that like if something seems like it's a little bit out of order, you know, like yeah, it can snowball for me pretty hard sometimes. But
yeah, the snowball is crazy.
And that like that's where it is. Like if you let that ball get rolling, it's kind of, once it has momentum, you know. Especially when I feel like if you're doing something challenging like that, it's like, and I know that I'm going to be doing something challenging for a long time. Like there's other things that I can think of examples of where like it happens to me. Like some like. You saw me on the episode when we drove up here for the Chernow episode. I was definitely in my head about that because we weren't here before he was.
Yeah.
So it's always like,
yeah.
I mean, it happens, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I think that worked out well for everyone because then Bryce could do his pitch. And
Yeah.
now he's a client at the studio. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Yeah, but it's funny how like that comes, right? Like that's a good example though, I feel like, is that like we spent a lot of time, like we had kind of months of knowing that like we were going to have this big guest,
and it wasn't a big deal until the day of.
And then the day of comes, and you're worried about what? Like we were going to be on time.
I think
he's early. Oh no!
I think it's that build up to that moment though, because you put so much expectation on how this is going to go and how this is going to look and how it's going to feel, and then you get to that moment and it's not exactly what you pictured.
Yes.
And it just makes it's. Like I said before, it's like ammo for that voice, you know?
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do for the rest of this podcast?
I like how you said.
So now that I've accomplished something that I set out to accomplish, what's something that you are in the process of or that you would like to accomplish that you've been working on?
Yeah, so that's why I brought up the question of it being like, why do you think it matters more when you have like this day of thing that like culminates the whole goal? Because I started thinking about like, okay, well then like why is it a struggle to be consistent at the gym, right? Why is it a struggle to stay consistent like financially or with your diet or with your work or whatever it is like that, right? Because it's like, is the problem that there's no like one day thing that leads up to all of it? Because I know that that's not the answer, because
there is tax day. I can think of one for everything you just said.
No, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
You totally know what I mean. That like, how do you, because like at the end of the day, like I know that it's not about that, right? Because then it's just like, if you put all, like you said, like you could easily put all of the stakes of what you did on the one day where you run the marathon. And then now all of a sudden you didn't meet your time. And now you could easily go down a rabbit hole of it being completely meaningless.
Yeah.
So then what is the equivalent of that, or what is a better way to go about that in things where that's not an option? I'm not going to do a bodybuilding competition. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know, like I'm not going to, right? Like I've been trying to think about like, all right, so then what is because everybody tells you it's like the reward is like the journey, right? And I feel like I've been trying to figure out a way to like quantify that or figure that out, right? Because it's like it quickly becomes like, well, I can skip this day, right? I can do this day. It's fine. I'll be whatever. And then like it spirals down, right? So I've been trying to figure out ways that, or just kind of like spend time thinking about what would make this more meaningful, because like this is what's supposed to be meaningful, right? Is the act of doing it. It's not like the results at the end of it. Like it's not like, for me, at least in my case, it's not like losing weight or doing stuff like that, right? And when you're trying to like balance a bunch of things, like I work here more, right? I'm seeing somebody. There's all these things that are kind of like pulling you in different ways that
You heard it here first. He said that.
yeah, and it's serious, by the way. But right, like, and you're trying to balance those things out. And like but I think that's like I'm like I said, I think it's an important part of life, and I'd like to talk about it then, like, because then it's just like there's no secret, and to anybody who listened to this podcast either, is that like I wanted to be in a serious relationship, right? And I wanted to have somebody that I could share that with, right? And then like that starts to build and that starts to come around, and then you realize that even though that's great and that's awesome, it's not going to be the answer to everything, right? It doesn't make me better at work, right? It doesn't make me necessarily be a better friend to you. It doesn't help me accomplish goals or get to the gym more or do whatever, right? It's a big, healthy thing, and it's great.
It could be. It could be a factor in all of those things, though.
No, I know, but
Depending on how you look at it.
yes, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be the thing that keeps you going back, right? It could be that, but it also could be something that feels so great that now you're lacking in other areas because you know that you can go to that and it feels good, right? Like at the end of the day, like what feels better? Is it like to spend time with somebody that you know is going to be a good time, that's going to lift you up and support you? Or are you going to choose to go to the gym when it's hard? Does that make sense what I'm getting at?
I mean, I think you need to leave yourself the room to be able to do both of those things.
No, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. That's exactly what I'm getting at, which is that kind of learning that,
Trying to find that balance and that I can do all of these things.
yes, exactly. And also realizing that it's just because like you had this one thing that was a goal, and now like maybe you're on your way to having like really having that in your life, doesn't mean that everything else kind of just like falls into place. Like you still have to work at those things, right? We still have to like show up and schedule and prepare for the podcast, right? I still have to show up for work. I still have to do certain things. I have to show up for myself, right? In those kinds of ways. And I think in the spirit of expectations is that it's just like something that feels so out of reach that then becomes like tangible could make you feel like, well, what was the point of the other stuff, right? At least for me, I'm just speaking for myself. Then how do you like learn to, it's kind of like what we've talked about before, which is the idea of like showing up for yourself first, so that then you can show up for everybody else, right? The other people who are important to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to fall in love with that and make that the main priority. I feel like once I really, really enjoyed doing the things that I do for myself in the morning and taking that time for myself, it really allowed me the bandwidth to be able to do better in the other areas of my life, because I knew that I was taking the time for myself. And like at the end of the day, that's probably the most important thing. You know, you need to evolve a little bit every single day in some way, shape, or form to be better suited for everything going on in your life. So I feel like falling in love with that process is like one of the most important things you can do. Like I don't fucking love waking up at 5 o'clock and going out the door to go for a run, but I do love looking at the mileage build up day after day after day, and watching the pacing go down a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And then you fall, like when that becomes something, then I look at, all right, this run and this run were exactly the same distance and pretty much the same like route. Let's see how we can chop this pace down a little bit over time. You know, or like you see this route and you add another turn and add another mile and watch how that builds. And I mean, you can do it with going to the gym and like, or even
I feel like it's
meditating, journaling.
I feel like it's in like the self-care practices or whatever you want to like call that, right?
And you find out so much about yourself in those things, which just better suits you to be able to handle things that come up when you are in a different situation. And you're like, oh, I know why I'm doing that right now.
And it's about, and to me, it feels like it's about like, you know, all of this has happened very quickly. So when I'm trying to remember that, it's like you then have to like kind of rediscover yourself through the lens of yourself versus like you've kind of been through the lens of somebody else, right?
Well, I think it'll be important for you because this is like the first time you're in like a healthy relationship.
Someone had to say it.
Like,
yeah.
just like, I don't even want to say healthy. I'll just say like an adult
stable,
relationship.
sure,
yeah,
whatever,
like
whatever,
a more mature relationship. And now that'll give you a whole new opportunity to learn about yourself. And how you go about being in these situations that are different than what you're used to, and how you rewire yourself. And it'll be very important for you to be present during, but like,
no, of course,
it's something that is only going to make you better if you allow it to. You can take something from that relationship every day and learn from it.
Of course, yeah, exactly. And then that it's just like not everything happens through the lens of, like, I think it's important to look long term in terms of us or whatever it is in terms of the direction you're going, but I also think it's important that it's just like you're still yourself, right? And the best way to be that is to do stuff that is kind of just for you, and then it kind of trickles down versus expecting what happens within the two of you to then kind of like just magically happen in other areas of your life, right? So I think for me, it's just kind of like embracing that journey of that, right? That not everything has to happen all at once. I don't have to have like everything figured out at this point. It's a safe place to like grow within, but that's not going to happen just by being in a healthy relationship. It's going to happen by taking time for myself and the other people in my life.
Have you meditated since you guys started talking, like hanging out?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have?
But not like as often.
Is it different?
Sometimes.
It's different because it's one less thing. Like there's free bandwidth now.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I would say so. But it's definitely not enough of, it hasn't been enough of a consistent habit for me to notice the, like it was when I first started doing it. So I think it's important to do that, like, or at least it's important for me to notice that I haven't been as on point with stuff like that, and to bring myself back to that, right? Because it's just like, I ultimately end up in that loop of, you have the time to do these things, right? It's just a matter of, do you want to wake up 15 minutes earlier to do those things, or do you want to do it when you get home from work versus getting right into what the next thing is?
Yeah.
So like, you know what I mean, man? And that's, I'm grateful for the fact that it's a safe place to kind of like learn that. And I don't feel like I have to have everything figured out within that. Because I think that would be a dangerous place for me to be, for sure. But I think that, that's what I'm learning about. That's what I was talking to my therapist about this week, which is that it's just like, okay, like as of right now, where you're at, like, that part of your life is solid and stable. The part of like being in a relationship with somebody. Now, what are you going to do about the other stuff? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not, it's also very important to, because I feel like I very much have that attitude of what's next? Like, what do I need to figure out next? What am I not doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then that can also take away from like enjoying what's happening right now, right? You only like start dating somebody once, right?
Hopefully.
no, but like specific people is what I mean, right? Like that only happens once, right? You don't just go back to the beginning of the relationship, right?
You can try. It doesn't fix anything.
Yeah, I bet, dude. I bet. Yeah. Maybe I should move to Astoria and try to figure it out. But no, I think that's also an important factor in it too, right? Is being like, this is good right now, and it's okay for me to just enjoy that and be present in that, and it doesn't have to go anywhere further beyond that. That's my guy. You know, like,
why does he look like he ran a marathon yesterday?
But yeah, like I don't know. I think that's And like even right there, right, is like the duality of that situation that happens a lot in my head, right? Which is on one end trying to figure out like what else can I work on, where can I improve, which is not a bad mindset, and also trying to focus on where can I be present at what's happening right now and be grateful for the fact that this is going somewhere that is healthy and safe and supportive. So I'm trying to balance out both those things, right? I also never thought that I would be on this podcast talking about something like this in this way, right?
We thought we'd be
right.
there.
Like, and I'm sure that whatever a year and a half ago, you were probably thinking the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I think both things can be true, right? I can be working on being more present within that relationship, and I think that I can work on what can I focus on within myself that will allow me to be the best version of me, whether it's there or elsewhere. So, it's a struggle. It's tough, right? Because you want to be grateful, but you also want to be getting better.
Well, you're getting there.
Yeah, no, I know, man. Yeah,
Ball's
it's great.
rolling.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it's rolling, right? And then sometimes that's enough to just be like, you're on the right track. And things are going in the right direction. It doesn't have to be this thing with like markers and trackers and perfectly put together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's, You got any advice for me as a man with a child now? Yeah.
Advice for on what exactly?
On what I just talked about for like the last 20 minutes.
Well,
I clearly don't have it figured out yet.
I mean, I was saying,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
enjoy it now,
Yeah.
and work on yourself through it.
Enjoy
you know,
it now because you're not going to sleep when you have a newborn.
No, you
No,
could.
no,
You
I
could
know.
sleep perfectly fine.
No, I know. Yeah.
I mean, just like I said, you're going to learn a lot about yourself now, and just remember that you're learning about yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
while also, it's like it's like in a relationship, it's two people, two different energies, and you don't want to be two people that are like trying to take each other's energy.
No,
You want
of
to
course
just be
not. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
giving it off and
Yeah.
sharing it,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So just staying, like working on that, like being present with yourself and making sure that you keep, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think that that's our problem. I think that we both bring.
No,
good energy.
I know that's
Yeah.
everybody. I feel like that's always
Yeah.
at the beginning though, and it's
Yeah.
maintaining that is very can be challenging the longer that
Yeah.
you're in a relationship, you know, because everything's fine and dandy and then habits creep in because everybody has
Old
habits
things
and
come
there's
around,
things that you have to work through, and
Yeah.
that's the opportunity right there, and you have to be aware and alert to the fact that this is the opportunity to now change this. It's not like this habit's creeping in and now I gotta like explain this to you and be like, this is why I get like this. That's coming up because it's here for you to change it. So just be
Yeah.
aware and present of that.
Yeah, no, I think that in a lot of ways, and you've mentioned this about Desiree too, which is that like everything is not going to be just somebody who tells you that everything's all good and makes you feel great, and it's going to be someone who challenges you, right? And in a lot of ways, I don't know if I've certainly experienced that in my family and my friends and people who bring the best out of me, but I don't think I've necessarily like directly experienced that in a romantic relationship where somebody wants you to be better, right? And wants you to improve like that. And in a way, it's really nice to do that, but it's also very confronting, right? Right. But it's also confirming about yourself that you can. I think that there's a lot of, and I think in some ways it's true, but I think that there's a lot of talk around like dating and relationships now that certainly got to me, which is the fact that you should have everything figured out and then it will happen, right? Versus like, and then what that creates then is the idea that you will be the complete person that you're supposed to be, when the reality is that a real relationship is two people who are still growing, in my opinion. Oh. And then it's like in a matter of being like, you're here to help me. You're not here to, I can either take this as a way to improve myself because you want the best for me, or I can take this as a way of you're pointing out what's wrong with me and I'm going to run away from this and go try to fix it somewhere else. And that is a challenge, right? Because I know you experienced that at the beginning of your relationship for sure. And I'm sure you still experience it now, right? And I think that a bunch of those like topics are things that I'm trying to work with, where it's like you go from wanting to have this person be a part of your life to then how do I integrate into their life and make them the best that they can, but also how do I do that for them too. And there's not like, everybody is different, so there's not necessarily like a specific roadmap for that. And I think I look for that, right? I think I look for a like specific thing that's supposed to happen, or a benchmark or a title or whatever it is that's supposed to make that right and okay. And it's like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's not how life works, right? And I think that that's part of the way that it challenges you, right? So I think it's also a good way of noticing that that's a challenge in your life, but also that like not every challenge in your life is meant to be this thing that's like an obstacle. It's a thing that's going to make you better. It's not like a thing you have to fight against. It's a thing that's there to help you learn and get you better.
Yeah. To go with.
Yes, exactly. Take you on the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah.